Hi everyone. Yeah, got it. Recording in progress. So good work. Here it's still 11 a.m. in Colombia, beautiful and tropical Colombia. I love it. So thank you so much for, for me, it's an honor. I'm going to repeat this maybe now and then in the next 5-10 minutes. Just before to jump on this, I would like to make a few things clear from my perspective. First of all, thank you, Wesam, for inviting me to come back again to your beautiful group. It is something that I've been thinking a lot, like it's not usual to have a free speech platform lately, right? Because we've been, a lot of people, we've been censored and canceled for what we think. So Wesam doesn't necessarily agree or disagree with me. He gives me the platform space to, spread my beliefs, my experience, and that's very lovely because it's not usual lately. It depends on what you're thinking, what your beliefs are. You're considered either a nice guy or totally selfish. So thank you for that, for this free platform. I love it. And what I want to share with you guys is about the thoughts shape your reality. I'm doing in Psyche, which is based in epigenetics and quantum physics and placebo effect research and also brain mapping. It is my own experience. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be yours. But I want to I want to share my experience because it's been life changing for me. And I think this knowledge of this is not new knowledge because this is actually very ancient knowledge. Our ancestors knew about this, but it's really hard to put on the mainstream because, it's not, you'll see it. You'll see what I'm talking about. So thank you so much. I'm going to start sharing this screen and let me see if I'm doing it right. I'm going to change this to that. Beautiful, amazing. So I love this picture. As always, I like to start any event. And by the way, if you have any questions, I cannot see your questions now on the chat screen. So we wait until the end when we finish and we stop recording the event and then we go to the Q&A. So any questions that you might have, just wait until the end. It won't be that long, I promise, Wesam. It won't be that long, and then we do the Q&As without recording, and we can express ourselves freely. So thank you so much. So let's start with this. For example, life is complicated, right? How many times you might think, or you might thought or believed or even heard from someone saying, life is too complicated, right? So I cannot see you right now, but I'll raise my hand because I've been all the time like, having this kind of belief, let's say, life is complicated. What about this one? Passion doesn't pay bills, profit does. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I was one of those that in the beginning, like years ago, like years and years ago, I thought that passion, you just need passion, right? To make your living, with your passion will be enough. And then I switched to this one, like a passion doesn't pay the bills, profit does. And now at this stage of my life, I'm back again disagreeing with this statement. I think you need the passion, but also you need the skills. Because if you have the skills and not the passion, for me, from my experience, like I said in the beginning, this is my experience. You need the passion to do whatever you want to do in your life, right? You need to love what you're doing. Otherwise, it is still legit, right? You don't get me wrong, but for me, it doesn't work that way. So for me, this statement is not 100% true for me. And what about this one? Did someone tell you this when you were a kid or younger? Like maybe your mom, my mom was like, no, if I were like, if you were serious special, you probably have a real job, right? How many times you heard that? Or maybe you said that to yourself, like myself too, right? So what is have a real job? I had a real job, several real jobs, you know what I'm saying? But like my last real job was a correctional officer back in Melbourne from 2017 to 2022, from this year, yeah. I was a correctional officer in a medium security male prison in Melbourne. Well, steady job, a secure job, and all that, secure payment, blah, 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 blah. So what? Now I'm doing completely different stuff, right? So this, my friends, and of course, ouch, this one hurts. Thinking about, oh, I'm not doing something serious with my life. I need to be more serious. I need to stop dreaming about doing what I love, about doing what I think it's not my purpose. What's the purpose? Forget about your purpose. Get a real job and forget about that. Okay, and what about this one? It is what it is. There's nothing else we can do. It is what it is, so get a grip and just relax. Well, my friends, those are exactly that. Beliefs. All right? You might have some of them, you might have all of them, you might have none of them. Regardless, they are just that. Beliefs. So, my friends, thank you so much for coming to Your Thoughts Shape Your Reality. And thank you for showing up and, make some time out of your busy agenda. I know that now it's in Europe, it's summer. Well, here it's always tropical. So for me, it's always a summer here. So thank you, because now it's nice time and, the days are way longer in Europe. And then if you're from another part of the country, from the US, it's also summer. So thank you so much. And thank you, Westham, again, for inviting me, for having me here to use this free speech platform, which I love. So, and also thank you all for the time, for making the time, because we know that time is the most valuable asset, right? Or is just another belief. So again, I repeat myself one more time. I'm gonna share my own experience in life in shaping my reality from my thoughts or by my thoughts, right? Whatever I'm gonna share here is based on my own journey, which is Psyche, which is based in epigenetics, like I said, in the quantum physics, in the brain mapping, and mainly placebo and nocebo research effect, or effect research, sorry. So once again, thank you. And let's talk about a little bit about my life, about myself and my life. If you know me already, you probably know this part. So I'll try to go as quick as I can. And then if you don't know me, my name is Bruce Sanchez. I'm mainly a full-time, I'm very proud international Psyche facilitator, which is a modality of energy psychology. I also been a certified high performance coach by Brendan Burchard in 2020, NLP master practitioner, mindfulness, and also a life coach and neurotransformational coach. This is more like my baggage or my journey in personal development. I was an international Krav Maga instructor, black belt in Krav Maga, security and bodyguard back in Spain. So I've done a lifeguard. I remember I was a lifeguard in 2006 in Spain, in the beautiful job. I love it. I was young, I had a very good time being at the beach, and and I also drove an ambulance in Spain in summer. I was in a private hospital driving an ambulance. What an experience too. So I've done a lot in my life. So this is my last studies and certifications. But mainly I'm Psyche facilitator. So if you remember this picture from previous events, the guy on the left with the long hair looking, facing to the camera, like posing, like, I don't know what I was thinking. That was myself in my heavy metal band in Spain. I was playing the electric guitar in a metal band, right? Life seemed to be fun, right? It was fun at times, don't get me wrong, but also I was struggling with addictions. I was in middle 90s until 2002. I was highly addicted to drugs back in Spain, right? I didn't tell you that, guys, but I born in Australia, born in Melbourne, Australia, but I grew up in Spain and moved back to Melbourne 8 years ago, and now temporarily, which is it seems like it's going to be more than temporary in Colombia, where my wife is from. And that was myself 2 years after my rehab. That was in 2004. I started doing Krav Maga. If you see that logo on my t-shirt, it's from the Worldwide Krav Maga Federation. Yeah, here we go. The World Krav Maga Federation. I was a black belt now at that time. So while I was doing my rehab, I became a black belt. So pretty amazing change and shift in my life, but it wasn't the only one. That's myself with my special operations group gear in Melbourne in 2017 in the prisons in Melbourne. And also I got diagnosed with PTSD February 2020, just before COVID hit Australia. I know that hearing from me right now with my tone sounds like it wasn't like a big deal. It was a big deal for myself. Never, because I was experiencing panic attacks at the workplace. While conducting prisoners' count, I was with a colleague. There wasn't a boxing day, in a public holiday, and nothing triggered that reaction, right? And I had my first panic attack in my life in the Boxing Day, which is the 26th of December, 2019. So that was a couple months earlier, that day. Yeah, at work, in front of the prisoners. So you can imagine the situation, right? Not a nice place to be. But like I said, like when I was struggling with addictions, that for me was one of my biggest lessons in life. And that's when I started to dive in even deeper in coaching, because I wanted to, become a coach eventually, but I was working in the prison and being in the special operations group, being busy, and it's like all the time postponing my studies and postponing my research, the things that I really loved at that time, still loving, of course. And that hit me. And that's after that, and I can't remember exactly which date in February, but I was on a stress leave. I was off work for at least 4.5 months. So that's why I took that moment of that situation as an opportunity to start rethinking everything again. That's when I became a certified high performance coach with Brendan Bouchard, and I did the NLP, the mindfulness, everything in that period of time, around 4.5 months, no longer than 5 months. Yeah, I did everything because I was like, no, there's something is not working well in my life. I'm gonna figure out what it is, and I'm gonna find a way. And now so for the rest of the 2020, I went back to work. If I remember, was September or late August 2020, coming back slowly to the prison, working again. And, regardless of this, whatever you want to call it, pandemic or whatever, I was doing right. I mean, Australia wasn't that bad compared to the other countries. I'm not saying that it wasn't, it was good. I wouldn't say, I was saying, I said that it wasn't that bad. 2020 wasn't that hard for us, at least from my experience in Australia, in Melbourne, especially in Melbourne, right? Other states in Australia wasn't even much less than us. However, 2021, and then the really hard lockdowns took place in Melbourne. As you may be aware of, Melbourne was the world's most lockdown city. The world's most lockdown city with most restrictions or more severe restrictions alongside with Canada. So unbelievable. Australia and Canada, that they used to be the best countries in the world, they turned into the most restrictive lockdown, and you name it. For me, was even tyrannical countries that I couldn't even believe it. For someone like me that are born there and living my best days in my life in Melbourne, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So my stress came back again. I didn't have nightmares. I didn't have panic attacks, right? I was angry because I disagree 100% with all the policies and all the measures and everything. I completely disagree with that. And then the hard measures at work that took place, that was insane for me, from my perspective, right? I'm not saying that I am right, but I'm saying that's how I lived that experience. And then I was, like I said before, angry, irritated, and also pessimistic. That's something that it doesn't match with myself, because when people ask me, well, what is the aspect or what is the part of yourself that you feel most proud of? And I will say that I'm very optimistic, and my energy, and I was energetic, but I was energetic towards angriness, towards being pissed off. I was channeling my energy to a very wrong place, right? So that was really bad. And then all the mandates and all that crazy stuff happened in Melbourne. And for me, it really had a huge impact in my life. I had to say that I allowed to get this under my skin. Everything comes with a lesson. Absolutely everything. Like my addictions back in the day came with a huge lesson. The PTSD came out with a huge lesson, and this was going to be exactly the same. Well, I wasn't unbearable at home, but it didn't affect my relationship with my wife. So because of her. But she was worried about me, because she saw me like, why are you allowing to get so pissed and watching the news and get irritated and being pissed off at work and all that stuff. It had to happen to me. And then something happened. I told you before, I was at that time I was certified as a high performance coach. I was an NLP practitioner, mindfulness. I knew the drills. I knew what to do. Even though, boom, I allow myself to get angry, to get pessimistic, irritated. Like this, I allowed it myself. And then this man came across my life in a live interview in a Spanish platform, which had an interpreter, Bruce Lipton. And I was like, huh? For the first time, because I didn't know him. I mean, I never heard about Bruce Lipton. I said, who is this? Because I remember it like, I don't know, because I love that platform that I was watching those interviews, and normally it's a personal, it's one of the biggest, one of the Spanish biggest personal development platform, right? And I saw his pictures, and that's an old man, come on, where when I waste my time listening to him? That was my judgment, my prejudgment, right? So, but I didn't have anything to do in the morning, so I watched it with my wife, and I said, OMFG. What? The biology of belief. He was talking about the principles of biology of belief. About the way, if you haven't read that book, Biology of Belief of Bruce Lipton, do it now, right? I normally don't suggest or give it some advice, but this one, it's mandatory. Go and get that book, The Biology of Belief, and just read it. Just read it. That's it. Because once I finished that live interview, I think while I was watching the interview, I jumped on my app and ordered the book. Not just that one, the 3 books he has there: Biology of Belief, Spontaneous Evolution, and The Honeymoon Effect. I ordered them, and then when they came, boom, I just read them. Unbelievable. Well, he's a PhD in molecular biology, among other many things. And this statement really, really sticking to my, into my mind. Like, the secret in life is in the beliefs. It is not genes that control your life. It is the belief. He's one of the, I think he was the first biologist using stem cells in a laboratory back in the 60s or late 60s, early 70s. He was one of the first. He says that it's not genes that control your life. It is your beliefs. So, and that's when I said, I need to need more about this. And what's the relation between Bruce Lipton and maybe Psyche? he experienced Psyche, and he explains, he shares his story through Psyche and how Psyche helped him to finish that book, The Biology of Belief. He was stuck for years. He couldn't know. I mean, he didn't know. He was stuck. He didn't know how to finish the book, and well, he did some Psyche with Rob Williams, and after 3 months, the rest is history. So I needed to know what's this all about, beliefs controlling your genes and not the other way around, right? Which is just, this is life changing, was life changing for me. So basically, what neuroscience, epigenetics, and also the epigenetics in neuroscience says this: in the first 7 years of age after birth, I would say even that for even the last 3 months of pregnancy, we are receptive. They were the most receptive to download information, to absorb information from our environment. The first, especially first 7 years. So why is that? Because we operate under the theta by vibrational state, or it's known also as hypnosis, is where the imagination. I don't know if you remember when we were kids. I remember when I was a kid playing with my toys and grabbing a broom and thinking or believing that I was riding a horse. Well, it wasn't a broom for me, it was a horse. It wasn't just a toy for me, it was something, it was a living stuff or living toy, right? Because that's what we kids do, right? That's where the imagination comes from. We perceive the world in a very different way at that stage. So, and what happens during those 7 years? We download the information from the environment. What does that mean? I mean, what are you saying about downloading information? So in order to us to operate in this society, at home, with the family, with friends, at school, when we born, we need to absorb all the information to, and always seeking for validation, right? From parents, from school, we are looking always for the validation to be accepted, to, you know, how to operate at home. How many rules do we need to learn just to be at home? Like at this time, we we have lunch this time, sit on the chair, don't do this, don't do that, be careful with this, and there's so many rules. So many rules, and the only way that we are able to absorb that is under the theta vibrational state or hypnosis. That's why kids, we are sponges. When we are kids, we absorb energy like nothing. That's why we learn super quick. That's the basic explanation. All right, there's a bit more than that. That's the basic explanation. And I say, okay. So after 7 years of age, we start operating from a different one, which I can't remember if it was beta, alpha, I can't exactly remember, but we changed now the state and we operate based on the information we download throughout those 7 years. And how this has an impact on us, the environment at home, the environment outside, the environment, the repetitive messages. That, my friends, has a huge impact. I'll give you an example, I always say pretty much the same. For example, with money, that was my biggest stressor in life, much worse than drugs. Like money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is corrupts everything, and so on and so forth. When we start receiving repeating messages, it gets downloaded into the subconscious mind. I don't know if you're familiar with the conscious and subconscious mind. I want to talk just right now, a moment, to understand what is this conscious and subconscious mind and why is this relevant. Give me 1 second, just taking the time. Beautiful, we go, good. So, and after that, 95 of all beliefs, I mean, after 7 years of age, we operate for the rest of the life, and then 95 of all our beliefs are made or created or integrated into our system in the first 7 years of age, and then we operate based on those beliefs. If someone has been telling you at home or somewhere like you are not enough, you're useless, you stress me out, look at your brother or look at your sister, why don't behave like him or like her? That kind of messages that is repeated in once and over and over and over again, that makes a huge impact in your life and will. I mean, like it or not. Why is that? So let's talk about the conscious mind. We have a brain, the brain that says the physical stuff, and the conscious and subconscious mind is more like energy. It's more invisible. Okay, let's put it in that way to understand it. But there is no physical part of the conscious and subconscious mind. It is located, but the physical stuff is called a brain, which is the right side of the brain and left side of the brain. And then we have the mind. So the conscious mind is volitional, is the one that sets goals, judges results. You are and your wishes and desires. You're using your conscious mind to set your goal, to have a wish, a desire, right? To understand that this conversation, right? You know that we have in this conversation because your conscious mind is now aware of this event, my voice, and so on. It's always hanging out in the past and the future. Who in this room has caught up himself or herself just, thinking about yesterday or the last year, or thinking about next week, thinking about whatever it might happen in the future? How many of you? All of us. Because that's how the conscious mind operates. All right, it's always either in the past or future. It can handle something about 1 to 3 tasks at a time. This is neuroscience. This is not me. Don't take my word. You can find this information anywhere. So still multitasking, right? Even men, we can even execute 1 to 3 tasks at a time. Even men, right? And it has a limited processing capacity, which is 40 bits. It's a measure, right? It's a measure, bits, information per second, which sounds pretty okay, I would say. Okay, just remember, specifically remember these 40 bits of information, right? Remember that. It can handle 1 to 3 tasks at a time. It's always in the past and future, set goals, judges results. It's the one that I like this, I don't like that. This is true. No, this is false. It's all from the conscious mind. And then why then is so important the subconscious mind? Why is so important to make changes into the subconscious mind? Why the subconscious mind has that many relevance in our life? Let's go. Subconscious mind is more habitual mind. You know habits? Here we go. Monitors, among other things, operations of the body like digestion, breathing, your heart beating, everything in what happens in your body is controlled and monitored by your subconscious mind. Think literally. Doesn't get jokes, doesn't understand about tones, doesn't understand about negative sentences like I don't like this, I don't want this in my life. It doesn't get it. It doesn't get it. And only operates on the present tense only. It only cares about now. Okay? And now you might think, oh, well, good. Well, so different operations or different tasks, the subconscious mind. What's the difference now? Because I don't see any difference, right? Okay, here's the one. Here's one. It's not the only one. It has expanded processing capacity, long-term memory. It can handle thousands of events at a time, like right now. I'm moving my muscles. I'm moving my muscles from everywhere. My hands, my arms, my mouth, everything. I am breathing. My heart is beating. It's everything is operating from the subconscious mind, and I'm not aware of, or we are not aware of, right? So it's handled thousands and thousands of events at a time. First point. Next one. It learns from repetition, 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 among other ways. But this is I would say, I wouldn't say the main one, but it's you can see it. A clear example when we learn to walk, or when we learn how to walk when we are kids. We probably don't remember, but we were singing with the little boys right around us, like they stand up and fall down again, stand up and fall down, until the kid or the kid start walking. Once your subconscious mind knows something like walking, it doesn't need to learn it again anymore. It's like riding a bicycle. All right? You might learn how to ride a bicycle when you were a kid. You might spend, I don't know, 20, 30 years without riding it. You grab a bicycle, it takes a couple minutes, and then boom, back again. That's your subconscious mind. Exactly the same when you learn in a driving school or how to drive a car or whatever. The first days or when you start learning, I remember, didn't have enough eyes and feet to manage to handle everything, the pedals and mirrors and everything. That was crazy. That was nuts. Like, I can't believe it. And I had to you need to pay attention to the signs and the traffic lights and pedestrians, everything. That was a jungle. What happened? Like nothing. And then after years, you don't know how to, you go to your workplace from home. It's like, shit. Because you don't pay attention anymore, because your subconscious mind takes over and then allows you to think about other stuff, like listening to music, being in a conversation with someone, maybe on the phone, which you shouldn't. Anyways, that's the power of the subconscious mind, which also operates 40 million bits of information per second. 1 million times more powerful than the conscious mind. You get it now? Subconscious mind is 1 million times more powerful. Don't take my word. Go find it in the neuroscience, any neuroscience on YouTube and Google, anywhere, books. Find this information. It might change maybe from 40 million bits, and maybe says 50 or 50, but at the end it's 1 million times more powerful. And that's, remember, habitual. The habits are integrated, where the habits are integrated in subconscious mind. And say, okay, I get it. 1 million times more powerful than conscious mind. And, but still, okay, I see it's more powerful, but why is it so relevant? Because imagine this iceberg, the conscious mind, neuroscience again, established. Bruce Lipton says it's a bit less, but let's be positive with this. The conscious mind operates at most 5% of your day, of your week, of your month, of the year, a decade, your life. 5% at most, which normally is 3%, and sometimes could be even less than that. So what leaves us, put it conscious mind, sorry, I apologize, I forgot to put the type subconscious. So it's not conscious, it's subconscious mind. Is between 95 to 97% operating your day, your week, your month, your year, your decade, your life. What is this telling us? We going through life 95 to 97% autopilot. We are not aware of what we're doing. Everything we say, everything we do, everything we behave, and everything, whatever you want to say, comes from the subconscious mind. Comes from there. Habits, your self-sabotage, your every single thing. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Yes. Trying to make changes from a conscious mind, which is a change which is integrated or dwelt in the subconscious mind is trying to move, let's say to move this iceberg with a rope and a single boat and trying to drag him, to move him. It's exactly the same. It doesn't work. Why? Because the subconscious mind, like you saw before, works in a different way. Doesn't understand about past, doesn't understand about future, doesn't understand about downs, doesn't understand about jokes and everything. It is literal mind that only operates in the present tense. Have you noticed, like, when you try to make a change in your life, right? You want to get a new job or get promoted or I don't know, whatever, you name it. Right? That is not just enough with only wanting to and only having good intentions, right? It's not just enough. You need to do something else. Okay. Right? That is not just enough to have the good intentions, I want this and I'm going to start taking action. It doesn't happen like this, right? It needs work. It needs work. And many times, for example, affirmations. I've done affirmations for like a lot. Do they actually work like 100%? Don't get me wrong. I know some people that's been working, I mean, not as great as they wanted, but still having some results. But normally affirmations takes like ages to experience. I mean, I haven't experienced any because I wasn't doing affirmations for a long time, just a very few months until Psyche came across my life. But rather, it's not just enough to do affirmations in the morning for months and months and months. It's not that easy, right? Why? Because we are trying to make changes in the way that subconscious mind doesn't get it. Doesn't get it. What happens? One of the ways that subconscious mind gets, which is the least recommendable way to make a change in your life, in your thoughts, your reality, by the way, is by shock. A shock, trauma. Why trauma? Any kind of trauma happens this quick and it's so hard. So hard, not just to, heal from it, but to get rid of it. It takes sometimes even years, right? And how the heck happened like this? There has to be something. It has to be something that at least, I'm not saying that we need to heal or get rid of that like this quick, but instead of spending years, like let's say in a few seconds, in a few minutes, it has to be a way, because in the same way that trauma happens like this, it has to undo the same way. It has to be something, right? It has to be a way. And it is. And then one of the examples that not just me, but many of personal development instructors and teachers share about how effective is trauma. It's like, how many of you, it depends on how old you are, how many of you remember where you were with, what were you doing, and where you are at the 9/11, when 9/11 happened? So, I'm not surprised, but I would say 99% of the people still remember. I clearly remember where I was. I was in Portugal. I was with my family, with my brother and my dad, and we were watching the news. That was, I don't know, 21 years ago, right? 21 years ago. And still remember, still exactly remember what happened at that day, at that moment. And then what happened a week earlier, 9/11? Do you remember? I remember I was in Portugal, because at that time I was in Portugal. But I can't remember who I was with and what I was doing. Because when you combine, let's say, shocking event with emotion, bam, it gets imprinted in your subconscious mind. That's how it's like using a stamp, and bam, it gets imprinted in your subconscious mind. Emotion, energy, and shocking event. That's why trauma is so powerful, and it changes your life. Not in a good way, but you know what I'm saying, right? That's why trauma is so powerful, because it goes straight to your subconscious mind. Boom! And it has a huge impact, which is really hard to, like I said, not just heal from it, just to try to get rid of it, to try to understand it. That's why I know this is gonna sound bold. Like I said, this is my experience. I know this it can sound bold, but that's because we don't know. Many people don't know how to actually do it from the way the subconscious mind gets it. And for me, when I started doing Psyche, and I started changing my beliefs, actually what Bruce Lipton says, that your beliefs control your genes. Well, I'm not gonna say what kind of a medical condition I have, but I have, let's say, a chronic illness or chronic disease, illness, I don't know how to say, una enfermedad. And I just need some medications because my immune system levels are a little bit below from average, right? So what happened with me? I just get sick more often than normal people. I remember being in Melbourne, Australia, with that amazing and beautiful weather. I'm sarcastic, by the way. I was catching a flu and cold like 3 or 4 times a year, at least. Between 3 to 4 times a year, and really bad, like got me like a few days on bed, and I mean terrible. And then I have cough. The only thing that happened with me is like, you know, I had to be more careful about, you know, just wearing jackets and scaffolds and everything, you know, to take care of my health. Well, I don't know where the perception came from. I don't know, I'm not sure. But when I started my first session with Psyche, I said, okay, I have this condition. I booked, I called this facilitator pretty much to not prove him wrong, to prove myself that this was another BS stuff, right? Like, I'm gonna prove this shit wrong, but this is not gonna work. It's gonna work with my health. Come on. All right, believe it or not, well, I'm still doing intermittent fasting, which has helped me a lot to my immune system. But anyways, I did it last year, almost a year ago, and I haven't been sick. I've been sick now. When I came back from my break, I was in north of Colombia, in the Caribbean area, in Santa Marta. My wife got a little bit, let's say, cold or flu, kind of a little bit, not much. And then I caught it too. And I said, oh, I feel like, you know, like I'm getting like, you know, the sneezing and all the stuff. Anyway, a year after, so last year, nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing at all. And I said, nah, this is when I work out. I did my meditations, I did my balance with the Psyche, and the sickness, the strong symptoms of, you know, the flu, it disappeared a day after. I still have some runny nose because I have rhinitis. I think I don't know in English. Rhinitis, it's when you're dropping nose. And after 2 or 3 days, that was on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, nothing, no medication, nothing, absolutely nothing. I was on bed only on Wednesday night because I wanted to go sleep like earlier. We came back from Santa Marta, and now I'm just gonna go, you know, to be better. Nothing. That was myself. That's my experience. I'm not saying that everybody experienced the same. And that took me 90 minutes. That took me 90 minutes a year ago. 90 minutes a year ago. And then when I was talking to one of my colleagues, he said, no, but how do you respond to that? In a better way than you used to? 1,000 times better. You got it, mate. You got it. It doesn't mean you're never going to get sick. The thing is, how you're going to respond is going to be completely different. Because you believe that you're strong. You believe that your body can heal itself. That's what I did. My body healed itself, my immune system, blah, blah. Because now you believe that your body is now responding in that way. Doesn't mean you're never going to get sick, which means like when you get it, which is going to be less often, you're going to respond in a different way because of your beliefs. If you believe that an invisible enemy, which is floating in the air, is going to get you, is going to kill you and your family, regardless if it's not a virus or not, regardless of that, You're going to believe you're going to get it. You're going to get sick. And guess what? Your environment is going to get sick because you believe it. I know how this sounds, all right? You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I just have the experience on my own. Look, so be careful of what your thoughts are. What I would do, for example, why, I then ask later when we go into the Q&As, why the news, the mainstream media is so focused on the negative and the negative news and death and war and this and that. Well, there's a reason. Of course, there's a reason. Because whatever you perceive from your environment is what you're going to project to your reality. Fear, from my perspective, has been the real global problem for the last 2 years and a half. Fear, what makes you sick, what lowers your immune system. Look, I'm going to share I'll do in the Q&As. I'd rather to do in the Q&As. I don't want to share this on the replay. But I want to share something that I went through. Again, you might disagree with what I'm going to say, but I'm gonna share this, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic, so fully energized with what I'm doing, what I'm sharing with this. Your thoughts, my friends, your thoughts are the most powerful tool that we have in this 3D reality matrix. Your thoughts, your mind, because that's the difference between the 2D to the 3D is your the subconscious and conscious mind. We can shape any kind of reality you want, regardless of what's going on around us. I'm not saying look into the other side, but I'm saying, okay, this is happening. How am I going to react? How am I going to respond to this? Remember, last year, 2021, I allowed myself to get those events under my skin. Boom, stress, panic, not panic attacks, but stress, angriness, everything. What happens when you start changing that? Your reality is going to change regardless. Because we are that powerful. Just a conscious mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind. We manifest what we perceive and believe. If you've been told your entire life that you're not enough, that's what you're going to project in your life, that you're not enough. That's how your reality is going to be like. You are not enough. You are not enough. What normally happens when, I don't know if you read the Rich Dad and Poor Dad book from Robert Kiyosaki, another great book, which I do recommend. I have here like 7 books from Kiyosaki. What normally happens when a kid grows up in a wealthy and abundant environment, it normally tends to repeat that, because abundance and wealth is normal, it's common. What happens when a kid is growing up in a, let's say, poor environment? It tends to repeat that pattern because that's the norm from the environment. It's not always the same. There are exceptions, but just a very few exceptions. I've seen in the prison when I was a correctional officer, normally the prisoners were talking, yeah, my dad is in this prison, my mom is in that prison, my dad was dealing with heroin, or my dad used to beat my mom, and then they're repeating the pattern. It's not always the same. In other events I shared this, my dad used to beat my mom. None of our 3 brothers repeated that pattern. We broke that pattern, finally. It's not always that case, but in this case, we broke that, right? There is not anymore like violence at home. But it's not always the case. That's an exception. So that's why the quality of your thoughts is gonna determine the quality of your life. Because it exceeds the placebo and nocebo effect, it is real. I don't know if you're familiar with this terminology. It's more like a medicine terminology. Briefly, let me check the time. Yeah, beautiful. So the placebo effect means like, this is true. I mean, It's like when you go to a doctor and you are like very concerned about something, and I doctor, I need this or I need that because I'm very concerned. It gives you a sugar pill, and this is a new medicine, this is a brand new, this is, you know, you're gonna experience this and that. You take that pill, and you get better. Not because of the sugar pill, it's because you believe that whatever tablet or pill or whatever is gonna help you to relieve your symptoms. You are doing it that, not that pill. Yourself, your thoughts. That's the placebo effect. Exactly the same happens with the nocebo effect. If you think that something bad is going to happen to you, you're very, very, convinced that whatever thing you think is going to happen to your life, you are most likely to have that event in your life, just not because it is true or not, it's because you believe it is, and it's going to happen to you. That's the placebo and nocebo effect. This Joe Dispenza, you can find this video on YouTube. He talks about an experiment with 6 men. I think it was 6 men. They had a knee surgery. What happened? They took 3 of them conducting the real surgery. They recorded with the cameras the whole operation. And then with the other 3, they didn't proceed with this operation physically. What they did is put the cameras or the monitors, and they were watching the previous operation. And they thought the doctors were conducting the surgery in the knees. And what happened? All 6, the ones that got the surgery and the ones that didn't, but they believed that they have it, all 6 recovered from that knee surgery. 3 ones with an actual procedure, the other 3 just with the money. Find this video, Joe Dispenza, is on YouTube. It's unbelievable. It is, we are that powerful to heal ourselves. It's not easy to get into your subconscious mind, I'll tell you that. Because no one taught us this in schools, and you had to find that, you had to figure out, you had to figure out yourself. But I think that's for a reason. And that's for a reason. And my friends, and so, Wesam knows me. I've been hosting several events already in this amazing group, and she always sees me like very energetic. But Wesam, I don't know if you believe me or not, but I am even more energetic than last year, like 10 times even more. So because it is real. It's been real for me. And this kind of changing my life now, right now, my life in Colombia is amazingly, Colombia is screwed up country, right? It's even more corrupt than Spain, which is Spain is really, really, really corrupt. But Colombia is South America, pretty much all South American countries are really corrupt. It doesn't affect me in a way that it used to affect me. It doesn't affect me at all, because I'm responding in a very different way. And what happens when you start doing that? They just know it's going to change your reality, my friends. The ones around you, they're going to see you responding in a very different way. And they want to wonder, what the hell is he doing? Or what he or she doing? It's because it's shocking to see someone living a life like truthfully, regardless. So remember, you are one belief away from greatness. And just a quick one. If you wanna have a talk with me, or you wanna whatever, I'm open and free to have a talk with you guys if you want to know a bit more what I'm doing. What I'm saying is, like, all of us have the power to shape any reality you want in your life. We need to do it in a way that your subconscious mind, which is a million times more powerful than the conscious mind, we need to do it in the way that subconscious mind gets it. And I'm telling you, because I'm telling this to myself, that it's not happening like this. But it took me 90 minutes to revert my medical or whatever condition. I don't know how to call it anymore. I'm just, like should I still taking medication? Because I'm feeling better than ever. Better than ever. I am considering to doing that. It's something that I'm going to experience with myself. I'm not going to share now what I'm going to do, but it's in this year. I'm gonna go further. But that's me. That's me. That's me. So I'm gonna. Wesam, if you want to, we can straight jump to the questions. If there's any questions, I know it's been a little bit bold, and I hold back a little bit